Abyssus is the newest roller coaster to open at Energylandia. This Polish theme park made a splashy addition for the 2021 season by adding this multi-launch Vekoma coaster as part of a brand new aquatic-themed land. Vekoma has made waves throughout the industry with their newer generation coasters that have sported improved layouts and smoothness. So is Abyssus the company's crowning achievement, or is it merely good? Find out in this review of Abyssus. Energylandia has had a strong relationship with Vekoma, and Energylandia forged that relationship at just the right time. For many years, Vekoma was the laughingstock amongst coaster enthusiasts. Their coasters were often criticized for their roughness and unoriginality. Energylandia opened in 2014, and right around this time, Vekoma stepped up their game. Vekoma improved their ride layouts, trains, and track designs. Now enthusiasts are dreaming of their home parks getting newer generation Vekomas. For the 2015 season, Energylandia ushered in 3 clone Vekomas. First was Energylandia, a Vekoma roller skater. Second was the Dragon roller coaster, a Vekoma suspended family coaster. And third was Roller Coaster Mayan, a Vekoma suspended looping coaster. All 3 of these coasters, even the SLC, were smooth. Then in 2016, Vekoma debuted a new model Energylandia in Formula. This was a Vekoma Space Warp that showcased the creativity of the company's new designer, Benjamin Blomendal. This layout combined an LSM launch with inversions, airtime hills, and fast pacing. And it was yet another smooth ride. It seemed like the days of rough Vekomas were over. This ride instantly became one of the most popular ones at Energylandia. In 2018, Energylandia opened Hyperion, a massive Intamin hypercoaster. However, this coaster was almost made by Vekoma. The park had both Intamin and Vekoma pitch layouts for this hypercoaster. While Intamin won out, Vekoma's proposal was yet another impressive layout, and it's clear they would be involved in future projects with Energylandia. In 2019, the Polish park announced that they would be opening Abyssus for the 2020 season. This will be an LSM launch coaster like Formula, also combining inversions with airtime hills, but this one would be taller, faster, and longer. This would also be Vekoma's first Shockwave model, and like Energylandia's other recent additions, the ride would be paired with improved theming. The coaster would be part of Aqualantis, a water-themed land. The land was on track for a 2020 opening, but once the COVID-19 pandemic started, construction was put on hold and all of Aqualantis was delayed a year. Aqualantis and Abyssus opened in July of 2021. Abyssus looked fantastic with its bright blue track and ship-themed trains, and the coaster had some great interactions with the station, queue line, and area. But it had a notable omission: the theming. In a move we've seen several European theme parks do in recent years, the park opened their new ride with incomplete theming. This is how I experienced Abyssus, and I can't wait to see what the final product looks like in 2022 because it'll only improve the on-ride and off-ride experience. Abyssus is located in the very back of Energylandia, just beyond Zadra and the Smoxy Grot area. From the main entrance, it's roughly a 15 to 20 minute walk, so if you head here first, you can beat the crowds and get a few rides in before the masses arrive. Alternatively, few people are in Aqualantis around park closing, so the ride was a near walk-on during that final hour. During midday, Abyssus's line would peak at around 30 to 45 minutes during my August visits, but that line did move at a steady pace thanks to fast operations, separate load and unload areas, and consistent 3-train operations. One way to skip that line altogether is to grab a fast pass. Everyone at Energylandia is allowed to grab 1 free fast pass per day for this attraction. The kiosk is located next to the main entrance, and once your return time is called, you walk right onto the attraction. Those in the fast pass line had no choice of seats and were often assigned to a row towards the middle of the train. Compare that to those in the main queue where you can pick your row, if you're fast enough. After you pass by the lockers, there are 2 automated turnstiles before the station with monitors. These turnstiles together admit 16 people, or just under that depending how many people are in the fast pass line, which will be enough people to fill the train exactly. Once the turnstiles go live, both sides often run for the front row. However, you can avoid this mad dash and instead take the best seat, the back row. This is easily the best and most forceful place to ride in this coaster. The trains in Abyssus are similar to the aforementioned formula and feature the Vekoma vest restraints found on their most recent looping coasters. I do wish the ride had just lap bars like the Intamin or Mach multi-launch coasters out there, but these vest restraints are at least comfortable and have some slack, so the airtime is easy to appreciate. The vests do inhibit your ability to feel the laterals though. Once dispatched, Abyssus approaches this currently unthemed and hideous maintenance building. After a brief pause, the ride's first launch engages. I was surprised this wasn't a rolling launch, but the acceleration from a dead stop gives this element an okay punch despite the modest top speed. The first half is the ride's warm-up. It is a compact figure-8 layout with some tight turns and small airtime hills. Nothing in this section is extreme, and this is where I hope some theming is added in the future to compensate. After the launch, there's a surprisingly forceful turn. It looks rather slow off-ride, but I actually almost started to gray out from its compactness and solid positive Gs. This leads into a bunny hill that offers decent floater airtime for those in the back, and only weak floater airtime up front. That's followed by a small S-hill that offers decent floater airtime for everyone. Abyssus then winds around a few okay turns before shooting over this tiny bunny hill. Those up front get some more floater airtime, while those in the back get the stronger airtime that borders on weak ejector when the coaster is warmed up. The train then rises into the second launch, giving those up front a tiny pop of airtime. Then comes the second launch, which is disappointing. While Abyssus has an impressive top speed of 62 miles per hour or 100 kilometers per hour, this second launch has barely any force to it. This launch reminds me of a launch on a Mach coaster, and that is not a comparison any launch coaster should want. In all honesty, the ride's far slower first launch is superior to the second one in Abyssus. You then ascend the 126-foot or 38-meter tall twisting top hat, getting a quick blast of positive Gs on the way up. And then you come face to face with the most controversial part of Abyssus, the trim brake. Yes, you will feel it slow you down. This caused the front to only get a tiny pop of floater airtime despite how sharp the top hat's crest was. However, the drop is still very good in the back. Those in the back car get good sustained ejector airtime once the train clears that trim. The airtime start is just a little bit delayed. Abyssus then cruises through a giant and fairly forceful loop that had me seeing a little gray in most rides. It was a contrast to most multi-launchers I've ridden recently, where the vertical loops are more about hang time than positive Gs. This loop is followed by Abyssus' best element, this camelback that rises over the second launch. You fly over this hill, and it delivers the ride's best airtime. Those up front get strong floater airtime, while those in the back get really strong ejector airtime. This may be the strongest airtime moment I've ever experienced on a Vekoma. And the element finishes by diving beneath the station, so you also get a sweet head chopper. Abyssus then glides through a batwing. The first inversion doesn't do too much, but it does finish by diving below the entrance plaza. The pullout starts with some good positive Gs, but the pullout is so elongated that the positive Gs subside before the second inversion. The entry into the batwing second inversion does have some decent Gs up front, but the inversion itself only offers moderate snap. After diving below the station yet again, Abyssus soars over this S-hill. This is another element that's really drawn out, so it only offers okay floater airtime and weak laterals. After a moderately forceful turn, there's a sharp camelback. This one offers ample floater airtime up front and solid ejector airtime in the back. This will be the last ejector airtime in the ride, and if you're keeping track, the only place to get that caliber of airtime was in the back row. Abyssus then flies around a tight and enjoyable turn before winding through a floaty corkscrew. It's a contrast to the faster, lateral-heavy ones found in Formula just down the midway. The finale of Abyssus sort of fizzles out though. There is this off-axis hill that doesn't offer any airtime nor laterals. As great as the newer Vekomas have been, this is the one element that they seem to miss on consistently. This is the case even on the near unanimously praised Lek coaster at Legendia. Abyssus then rounds another moderately forceful turn before navigating yet another elongated S-hill that offers weak floater airtime across the train. You then hop into the brake run, giving those up front an itty-bitty pop of airtime before coming to a smooth stop, ending the 4,318 foot or a 1,316 meter long coaster. Now Abyssus was not quite as intense as I expected, but I think that may have been deliberate. Energylandia's other headlining coasters are pretty forceful start to finish. Abyssus is arguably the most re-rideable coaster in this park. It's immaculately smooth, and most elements deliver moderate to decent forces, making it an enjoyable one, but the coaster never feels truly out of control. Compare that to something like Let Coaster or even Formula that pack more of a punch, start to finish, even though they have less track. After several rides in Abyssus, the coaster reminded me most of Steel Curtain based on its pacing and type of elements. So what would I rate Abyssus? I would give this coaster an 8 out of 10. This is a fun, well-rounded coaster. The ride strings together 4 decent inversions and a series of mild airtime hills. There is the occasional standout moment if you're in the back car, such as the drop off the top hat and those 2 camelbacks. But Abyssus feels like a ride that's more about quantity over quality. Now it is possible the final theming could elevate some of the ride's milder elements, but as it stands, Abyssus is still one of the best coasters in Energylandia, and it showcases the diverse layouts Vekoma is moving towards in the future. I just hope their future ones can be a bit more intense. So those are my thoughts about Abyssus, the Vekoma multi-launch coaster at Energylandia. Have you been on this coaster? How do you think it compares to Vekoma's other coasters out there? I would love to hear what you think about this ride down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.